Have you ever noticed on dirt, gravel, driveways, roads, you'll have a strip of grass and vegetation in between the tire tracks, then two on the outside of the tire tracks? I'm going to show you how I keep the vegetation in my roads under control without doing any extra work. I don't want to have to mow my roads because I'm lazy. It's no fun mowing roads when there's rock in them especially. If it's a rocked road, rocks are hard on mower blades. They eat up string trimmer line. Both of those can fling rocks all over the place, which can really hurt when they hit you in the shin. Ask me how I know. Down below where the road goes through the neighbor's property, they spend a lot of time mowing that center strip, mowing the outsides. I don't do any of that. I have an easier way. In this part of the country where we get into extreme wildfire danger later in the summer, they ban the use of roads that have vegetation in them. So when we get into August, September, get into extreme wildfire season, it will not be legal to use this road if we have vegetation in it because the risk of sparking a wildfire. I was a little hesitant to make this video because this is so simple, but it's effective, and I don't see people doing this. What does everybody do? They all drive on the same spot in the road. Their tires go down the same ruts. If you notice, there's no vegetation in that rut. Have you figured it out already? All you have to do is change the way you drive. Let's demonstrate how to do this. Most of my road does not have vegetation in it because I do what I'm about to show you. When I get to a part that does, instead of driving down those two ruts where it's bare, I move over a little bit so my tires are driving on the vegetation. Next time I come through, I'll do the same thing, but move it over just a little bit into a different spot to cover more area. Other times when I drive through, I'll do the same thing on the other side of the road. Later in the video, I'll give you some tips and tricks to make this safer so you don't die while doing this, and how to make it more effective. Of course, when I come back driving down the other direction, I do the same thing. Down below this spot, the road's mostly clear, but I have a little bit trying to grow on the right. Instead of going down the same grooves everybody else drives down, I'll get out of those grooves, drive over that vegetation on the right. Down here, there's a little bit on the right side. We'll drive over that too. Not just this time, but every time until it's gone. As long as that vegetation's still there, every time I come through, I'm going to vary where I drive, making sure my tires are on the vegetation instead of the bare spots where everybody else drives. It doesn't take too much of this before the vegetation starts to disappear. Even though it's getting mashed down, it is still here. It can't handle much of this kind of punishment. It'll die, then dry out. As you drive on it, your tires will continue breaking it down into smaller pieces, just like a mower would. A mower doesn't make it go away, it just chops it up into little pieces. How long does all this take? Well, like my neighbor to the north says, it depends. In this case, depends on how often you drive on it. In order for this to work, obviously your road has to be wide enough to accommodate you going from side to side. If you have a narrow road that's so narrow you can't go side to side, obviously that's not going to work. Around here, residential access roads are supposed to be at least 12 feet wide. A pickup truck is just a little over 6 feet wide. That's plenty of room to cover the whole road. The more narrow your vehicle is, the more flexibility you have to go from side to side. To get that one tire in the middle, the other tire doesn't have to go so far toward the edge. If your road is more narrow, it's a lot easier to do this with a narrower vehicle. Before you veer off the beaten path into the weeds, you want to check it out, make sure there's no obstacles, no sharp rocks, no stumps, nothing that's going to do tire damage. There's not a hole, a ditch, or a cliff you're going to go into. If you're not good at judging right where your tires are going to be, and you're afraid you're going to get too close to going over a cliff or going into a ditch, well, I guess that is a valid concern. It is way down there. But this could be a good opportunity to work on your vehicular spatial awareness, which I notice some people could use a little work on. Or whichever direction you're going, just keep your driver's side on the edge. You can always put your head out the window, see where your tires are. Just watch your head, make sure you don't smash it on any branches or other obstacles. Here are some things to watch out for. A stop like this could cause some serious tire damage. This one would be outside of where I would be driving, but these are things to keep in mind when you're maintaining your road. When you're cutting trees and small brush away from the road, make sure you don't leave things like that in the place where tires might go. Sharp rocks hiding down in the weeds. If you're doing road maintenance or someday just going for a nice walk down the road, these are things to look out for. Have in mind, someday I'm going to be driving through here. I'm going to keep my eye out for possible road hazards. If someday you're going for a romantic evening walk with your significant other down your road and they're yammering on about something you'd rather not listen to, like, don't work against nature, try to work with nature, it'll save you a lot of work, and you just don't want to listen to all that nonsense, you can distract yourself by looking for obstacles along the side of your road. Of course, occasionally you want to look up and say, yeah, then you can go right back to looking for obstacles along the side of the road. It's called multitasking. It's a way to be efficient. They should admire that quality. Of course, if you have to drive off the gravel to do this, you don't want to do it when it's going to be muddy and you're going to dig ruts in the side of the road. I got a little off the gravel over here, but I waited to do it until the ground was dry. I already have a few ruts over here where the dump trucks that hauled the gravel in drove off the road when it was muddy. Driving on it now while it's dry will help knock those down, even them out. When you drive off the road when it's wet, it makes ruts. When you drive off the road when it's dry, it helps get rid of the ruts. A lot of times when I come to many roads, if I see everybody's been driving down the same spot and it has that vegetation around the tracks, instead of driving down the same ruts everyone else drives down, I'll drive on the vegetation, as long as I can see that it's safe to do so, unless it's somebody else's road on their private property. Like the famous old saying says, when on someone else's road on their private property, drive as the someone else would do when they are on their roads on their private property. On my new road, got a little bit of vegetation creeping in on the left side. Drive over there, mash that down. Even on the parts where there are no vegetation, I don't always drive in the same spots. I drive all over the road to keep from wearing those two ruts in one spot. Of course, driving all over the road is considered to be a bad thing when you're out on public roads, but when you're on your own private road, driving all over the road is a good thing. It's one of the great things about having your own private road. You get to drive all over the road, and nobody gets mad at you. And you don't have to worry about getting harassed by those flashy blue light people. I think that's it. It's pretty simple. Instead of doing extra work, all you do is do what you normally do, just do what you normally do a little bit different. Instead of driving in one spot, drive all over the place. And your road will appreciate it. By driving all over the place, it keeps you from digging two ruts in the road that water will go down and wash your road out. Of course, I need to do a but obviously here because some people need to have a but obviously. What I'm doing here works well for me in my situation here and in a lot of other situations I have. What I'm doing here may not work for you in your situation where you are. If it doesn't work for you in the situation you have, obviously it's not going to work for you in the situation you have. And you should probably try something different. Now with that out of the way, I'll put my road playlist up here. It goes from how we built the road to how I maintain the road. You might pick up a few more tips and tricks there. I'll put something else up here too. I'm not sure what yet. This may just be a short video today because what more can I say about just drive like this? That's it. That playlist should keep you busy while I go eat those wild strawberries I see over here.